We're going to bring in two veterans now. Pete Hegseth is an Afghanistan and Iraq war veteran and Fox News contributor, and Carl Higbie is a former Navy SEAL and, by the way, a Donald Trump supporter.
I am.
So I got to ask you, after everything we've just heard, why do you, and I point out your credentials, you've served from 2003 till 2012, former Navy SEAL. You did 2 deployments in Iraq. Why do you think Donald Trump is the best guy for the job to lead this country and lead the military?
Well, we need to look at first 4 things. I have immeasurable respect for George W. Bush, but Jeb is not his brother. That's a fundamental fact. I look at a guy like Donald Trump who has consistently, he has set a goal, surrounded himself by the right people, and then performed, and then accomplished the goal, which is, I see just the same thing. I mean, look. Was it a mistake to go in Iraq? We can armchair quarterback all we want. But the fact of the matter is Donald Trump will set goals, systematic goals, to disassemble ISIS, to destroy them, and take them off the face of the earth. I don't think Jeb has the fundamental fortitude to do that.
What about the challenge? He doesn't have the experience. Hegseth, I've heard that from you before.
Absolutely. And the fourth point you forgot is that he trashes everybody that he doesn't agree with. In this case, he's trashing the Iraq War and the veterans alongside it who fought valiantly for it, using talking points from MoveOn.org and Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid, when you and I both know, having served there, that in the Iraq surge, we turned that war around, won the war, handed it to Barack Obama, and he failed and left it to fall to ISIS. And then Donald Trump has the audacity at a Republican event to stand up and say, it's George W. Bush's fault that 9/11 happened. Iraq war is a disaster because of him. Every veteran of Iraq should be offended by that statement. I don't know why vets keep backing him on those statements when he just throws it out there.
I back him because I think he's going to take the lawyers off the battlefield. And look, I have
a lot of candidates have said that, by the way.
And I have, well, Donald Trump is the only one I believe will do it. And I have a lot of respect for George W. Bush, but his hearts and mind mission was not conducive to winning the war. I don't think that we were winning the war.
The surge won the war. In fact, Joe Biden said in 2011, this war is won. We can leave. It's going to be a success for the Obama administration. Why isn't Donald Trump talking about that? Why is he litigating 9/11 and the Iraq war, shooting inside the tent at this Republican debate? It's not helpful.
So, Pete, let's go back to the fact that Karl Rove was just refuting these claims that Donald Trump says that he was raising a red flag, saying we shouldn't do this in 2003 and 2004. He's saying that simply wasn't true. I heard you under your breath say that's true. You are a big believer that Donald Trump is waving, saying he was saying this is a bad idea, but he never did.
In his book in 2000, he talked about how he believed that they probably had nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction, and eventually someone's going to have to do something about it. There's no public utterance he ever made against the war in Iraq. So a year after he started talking about how he thought it was a bad idea, and that's fine. A lot of people shared that perspective. There's a lot of sunshine patriots. When it's tough, if you stick with it, you can have a good outcome, and that's what happened in
So
Iraq.
are you unique in that you are a war veteran and you support Donald Trump, or are there others in the military community that you speak with that support him as well?
An overwhelming number of my friends support Donald Trump. I think what they see is they see a conviction behind a man. You saw W speak today with Jeb, and it was 2 completely different people. I would re-elect George W. Bush in a heartbeat, but you know, obviously you can't.
Why not Jeb?
Because Jeb is not his brother. Jeb is definitively not his brother.
What about him, though?
He's a noodle. He's soft.
But that's not a pro-Trump argument. That's an anti-Jeb Bush argument.
Okay, so my pro-Trump is that I see someone like Donald Trump who has set goals, met them, and then continued to strive forward. I think he has the conviction to fight this war as it needs to be.
How do you build a stronger army that no one would mess with without increasing defense spending? How do you defeat ISIS while doing exactly what Obama said, by writing off having ground troops if you need to? Those aren't necessarily clear points.
What is the biggest quality that you look for in a president?
Listen, what I love about Donald Trump is that he fights political correctness, that he tells it like it is. That's all good. What I look for, I want a commander-in-chief. I want someone who understands these issues, who's going to rebuild the military. I think there's a lot of Republicans on that stage. I think Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, folks like that are focused on talking about those types of things with a level of knowledge. Certainly Marco Rubio showed in that last debate that he understands foreign policy, wants to rebuild the military. He's been fighting for the VA. You know, Donald Trump talks about vets all the time. Vets. It's always in a terminology of victimhood and feeling bad for them. Marco Rubio fought for VA accountability for a long time, so I appreciate that Donald Trump talks about that.
Real quick, though, Carl, I do want to point out this piece in the Weekly Standard, veterans shouldn't trust Trump. And in it, they point out his mocking of a prisoner of war, a war hero, John McCain. And this was at the very beginning of his campaign. How everyone so easily has gotten over that and forgotten that.
Well, I think that, you know what it was, is John McCain is a senator in the state where we had the worst VA scandal in history and nothing was done. Nobody was fired.
John McCain fought for it. I was there. I worked on that. He fought for it.
Nothing was done, the bottom line. Okay, you call it a talking point, whatever you want. Nothing got done. Nobody got fired. You've been on TV yourself saying that. And to one more point also, the people who think that the military is not as strong as it was are wrong. They're absolutely wrong. strong. And the fact of the matter is the U.S. military is strong because of the people that are in it right now.
Like this guy, absolutely.
To Pete's point, we are strong because of the people who are in it. Doesn't, you can downsize us 10%, whatever. We are still just as strong as we were.
What does a U.S. military look like under Donald Trump as president?
I think we see ISIS gone in 2 years. We put 250,000 boots on the ground. I know people that is not a popular comment. We do what's necessary. We set the thresholds to say, if you do this, we will do this. And then we follow through. The red line in the sand that Obama failed at, Donald Trump will not fail at that. He will set the red line, he will meet those criteria, and he will destroy ISIS.
I think there's a lot of Republicans on the stage that would say that and would set those lines as well.
All right. Thank you to both of you, Carl and Pete. Great to have both of you, and thank you for your service, as always.